New maid entering the mansion gates. She came from nothing. Ethan, shouting, "I trusted you. You've been stealing from me for weeks." Maid, "I swear, sir, I didn't touch anything." Ethan, "Get out, right now." She runs past Mira, nearly bumping her. Mira bows slightly in silence. Butler, nervously, "Sir, this is the new maid." Mira. Ethan turns. His sharp gaze lands on Mira. She doesn't flinch this time, only lowers her eyes, still and composed. Ethan, dryly, "Perfect timing. Let's see how long you last." Mira nods slightly, not speaking. Her eyes flick up for 1 second. A flash of something unreadable. Then back down. Later kitchen. Ethan passes by the kitchen. He pauses. Mira is silently cleaning, meticulous. The old radio plays a soft classical tune. She moves like she's done this all her life. Too gracefully for a maid. Ethan, coldly, "You don't talk much." Mira doesn't turn, just answers softly. Mira, "There's nothing worth saying yet, so." Ethan, mocking, "Smart. Stay quiet. That's how the last one started." He walks away, but before he turns a corner, he sees her flinch as he raises his hand to fix his cuff. He frowns slightly. Evening Mira's small room. Mira locks her door, then pulls a small leather notebook from her bag. She writes in a strange code symbols and slashes not letters. Her eyes water slightly. Mira, he must never find out. She tucks the book beneath a loose floorboard, then opens a tiny velvet pouch. Inside, a royal pendant. Gold. A crest. She stares at it for a long beat. Knock at her door. Butler, through the door. "Supper's done. You can clean up now." Mira hides everything and opens the door with a faint smile. Night Ethan's balcony. Ethan sips whiskey, watching the moonlit garden. He sees Mira walking below, alone, picking petals from a rose. A breeze lifts a scarf, revealing a scar on her neck. He tilts his head, narrowing his eyes. Mystery note. Ethan walks past the library. Hears something. Peeks inside. Mira is standing there, unaware he's watching. She places a small envelope between two books. She glances over her shoulder and walks out. Once she's gone, Ethan enters, takes the envelope. It's empty. He frowns, confused, but then holds it to the light. There's faint, invisible ink. Faded words begin to appear. The past doesn't stay buried forever. Grainy security footage rewinds rapidly. A cursor hovers over a timestamp 1:47 a.m. Ethan leans over the monitor, arms folded. His eyes harden. Ethan, quietly, "Why were you in my father's study, Mira?" Estate morning. Birds chirp. Mira moves gracefully through the corridor with a laundry basket. She turns a corner. Ethan is waiting. "Ethan, you were in a restricted room last night." Mira stops. Calm. "Ethan, my father's study. At 2 in the morning." Silence. She doesn't explain. Only looks down, then back at him, her eyes unreadable. Ethan, angry, louder. "Don't pretend you were sleepwalking." Mira, softly, "I have nothing to say." Ethan, "That's a problem." He walks off, frustrated. Later fountain garden. Ethan walks outside. Stops. Mira is sitting by the marble fountain. Head lowered, he hesitates. Approaches slowly. "Ethan, you're not like the others. You don't explain. You don't cry. You don't even lie properly." She doesn't move. Ethan, quietly, "Why won't you defend yourself?" Mira turns her head slightly, her voice breaking just once. "Mira, because sometimes silence is safer than truth." She stands and walks away, leaving Ethan frozen in thought. Marketplace afternoon. Mira walks through the noisy local market, her scarf low over her face. She buys bread from an old woman. A shadow appears behind her. Mysterious man, low whisper, "You shouldn't be here, my lady." Mira freezes, turns slowly. A man in a simple coat stares at her intensely. Mira, under breath, "You must have mistaken me. Man, don't insult me. We buried your name, but your face, we never could." He hands her a folded note and vanishes into the crowd. Mira opens the paper. It reads, "Your time is running out. Zawari will not forget." Her hands tighten around it. She swallows hard and walks faster. Night Ethan's room balcony. Ethan smokes by the balcony, replaying the footage again on his tablet. Mira's movement in the study, but he zooms in. Her hands don't touch anything except a small photo on the desk. She places her hand on it, as if saying goodbye. He whispers to himself, "Ethan, what are you hiding?" Mira. Mira's room midnight. She opens her leather notebook. A new coded message. "He suspects me. I must move carefully. I saw Levon. He knows I'm alive." She closes the book, looks at her reflection in the mirror, slowly removes her scarf, revealing a scar behind her ear. A royal crest, faintly burned into the skin. Back in the estate corridor, a door creaks open in the east wing. Ethan steps inside his father's study. He checks the bookcase where Mira stood in the video. Finds a small envelope tucked behind a dusty book. Inside, a note. "To protect him, I must lie, even if it means he'll hate me." Ethan whispers, "Who are you, Mira?" Ethan, "She's not who she says she is, and someone knows." Later that morning, sunlight pours into Mira's small room as Ethan storms in without knocking. He's holding something small and metallic. Her drawer sits half open. She turned quickly, startled, clutching her apron. "This was hidden under your clothes," Ethan says, holding up a gold ring with a strange emblem. It glints in the morning light, etched with a symbol resembling a phoenix over a sword. Mira freezes. Her voice vanishes. She doesn't even reach for it. "Who gave this to you?" he demands. No answer. "Is it stolen? Or are you keeping someone's secrets again?" Still, she says nothing. Just lowers her gaze like she always does, only this time. Her hands tremble slightly. Ethan's jaw tightens. "One day, Mira, I'm going to force the truth out of you." He leaves the ring on the table and slams the door behind him. Mira rushes to the window and breathes sharply, her composure broken. That night, Ethan walks past the kitchen and pauses. The lights are dim. Inside, Mira is barefoot, humming faintly, dancing slowly to an old French tune playing from the dusty radio. She doesn't see him. Her movements are soft, graceful, like a woman who once danced in ballrooms, not kitchens. Her face for once is at peace. Ethan leans against the doorframe, watching her. A strange warmth washes over him, admiration, confusion, attraction, but also a strange fear he doesn't understand. When Mira suddenly notices him, she gasps and turns off the radio, clearly embarrassed. "I didn't hear you," she whispers. Ethan doesn't say anything. He only looks at her, really looks at her. Then, just as quickly, he leaves without a word. Later, Ethan sits in his study with a glass of scotch, staring at the ring he found earlier. He spins it slowly on the table. It clinks to a stop. His phone buzzes. Unknown number. He answers. A raspy voice on the other end. "You don't know who you brought into your home." Ethan stiffens. "Excuse me." The voice continues. "She doesn't belong in that uniform. She doesn't belong in your world." A pause. "You're harboring someone dangerous." The line goes dead. Ethan's hand shakes slightly as he lowers the phone. His instinct screams something is wrong. But his heart remembers the way she danced. Downstairs, Mira kneels in her room, praying softly beneath her breath. But there's no peace in her voice. Her hand rests over the spot where the ring once was. Outside her door, Ethan stands silently, unable to knock, unwilling to walk away.
Velvet drapes sway in rhythm with the music echoing through the grand hall. Candles flicker, casting golden halos across glittering masks and flowing gowns. It's the estate's annual masquerade ball, a celebration Ethan never enjoys yet tonight. His eyes keep scanning the room as if something's missing. Then he sees her. Across the room, in a silver blue gown stitched with pearl shimmer, a woman moves like water. Her mask is delicate, almost bird-like, but he knows that posture, that grace. Mira. She doesn't belong here, but she doesn't look out of place either. In fact, she looks like she was born for this. She floats between guests, silent, observant, clutching a wine glass with poise. The butler passes behind Ethan, confused. I thought staff weren't allowed in tonight. Ethan doesn't answer. His breath catches as he watches a man older, with a limp, approach Mira and suddenly freeze. Your Grace, the man whispers. Mira drops her glass. It shatters at her feet. She turns and bolts. Ethan cuts through the crowd and catches her near the west hallway. He grabs her arm and pulls her into the shadows. The music grows faint as tension takes over. Who are you really? He hisses. She tries to pull away, but he steps in closer. You dance like them. You speak like them. You hide like them. I want answers, Mira. She breathes quickly, trapped between the wall and his stare. Let me go, she whispers. You already saw too much. Her voice cracks, not with fear but with something deeper. Guilt. Ethan's grip loosens. Their eyes meet his fire, her fear, and in that heartbeat, everything softens. They're too close. One breath away. His hand brushes her cheek. Her lips part. The kiss almost happens until the door creaks open behind them. Guard. Sir Ethan, the governor has arrived. Ethan steps back. Mira slips into the shadows, gone before he can stop her. Later that night, the ballroom is empty, music silenced, footsteps faded. Ethan returns to the study, still shaken. On his desk, a paper he doesn't remember placing lies open. An old, faded newspaper headline stares back at him. Duchess of Arvenia missing, fled royal wedding night. Feared dead. He picks up the article. The grainy photo, young, regal, scar behind her ear. A name. Lady Mira of Arvenia. His blood runs cold. Mira. The entire estate falls into silence as the power dies. A long moment of stillness, then the beam of a flashlight cuts through the hallway. Ethan moves cautiously, barefoot, heart racing, calling out, Mira! Crash. He spins the light toward the sound and freezes. Mira stands at the end of the hall, soaked, breathless, her white uniform stained with mud, and in her trembling hand, she's holding a dagger. The air tightens. Neither moves. The flashlight flickers once. Drop it, Ethan says, barely a whisper. Mira slowly places the blade on the floor and raises her hands. It's not what it looks like, she says. But he's already grabbed her arm. He drags her down the stairs, ignoring her cries. He throws open the old guest room and shoves her in, locking the door from the outside. Thunder shakes the house again. Tell me now, or I go to the police, he says through the door, breath ragged, hands shaking more from betrayal than fear. Inside the room, Mira sits on the bed, her head buried in her palms. You want the truth, she says aloud, voice hoarse. Fine. I was never supposed to be a maid. Silence stretches. I was supposed to be married. To a man I never chose. A man twice my age. A man who already buried one wife. And they called it destiny. Ethan sits on the floor outside the door, stunned. Her voice continues, softer now. So I ran. Changed my name. Burned everything that proved I existed. The ring, the letter, the title. All of it. Inside, Mira walks to the mirror and wipes her tears away. Her reflection stares back like a stranger she no longer fears. I came here, she whispers, to hide from the man I was forced to marry. But I stayed, because for the first time I felt safe. Until you looked at me like I was something worth uncovering. Outside, Ethan leans his head back against the door. Rain still pounding outside. His world is shifting. The storm outside is loud, but not louder than the storm inside him. He doesn't know whether to believe her, protect her, or run from her. Ethan. Love uncovers the lies one storm at a time. The newspaper flutters to the floor in slow motion. Headline bold and loud. Royal family still searches for runaway princess. Beneath it, a faded image of a younger Mira in ceremonial robes, her eyes hauntingly familiar. Ethan stands over it, silent. The storm has passed, but his mind is thunderous. He walks slowly into the parlor where Mira sits near the fireplace, her eyes hollow from a night of confession. He tosses the newspaper onto the table in front of her. So it's true, he says. You're royalty. Her breath catches, but she doesn't deny it. Not anymore, she answers, barely audible. He paces the room, hands on hips, heart in chaos. Do you realize what this means? The lies, the danger, the people who might be looking for you. Mira lifts her gaze, strong despite the trembling beneath. I didn't lie. I erased myself. I chose freedom over a crown. But now I might lose both. Her words fall heavy between them. Ethan approaches, kneels beside her. You wore a mask for months. Played a role. Let me think you were someone else. Mira looks at him with quiet fire. I never lied about who I am inside. I only hid what they made me become. Ethan's face softens, but his confusion doesn't fade. So what now? You go back to silken castles. To a man who thinks he owns you. Her voice sharpens. No. I would rather disappear than return to that prison. Their eyes lock. The silence sizzles. Without thinking, Ethan leans forward and kisses her fierce, confused, searching. For a moment the world falls away. Then he pulls back suddenly, breathing hard. I don't know if I can trust you, he says, pain laced through every word. Mira blinks rapidly, the ghost of the kiss still lingering on her lips. I never asked you to, she replies. Only not to turn me in. He stands, torn between anger and longing, between her truth and his fear. They'll come for you, he says, walking toward the door. And when they do, what happens to me? Mira doesn't answer. Her hands slowly fold the newspaper. Her fingers trace her own royal image before tossing it into the fire. The street is nearly empty, rain still clinging to the cobblestones like forgotten memories. Mira walks quickly, head down, clutching her coat tighter as footsteps echo behind her. She glances over her shoulder, nothing. But then a car screeches to a stop across the road. A door swings open and a tall man in a dark coat steps out. His eyes locked on her like a predator. Mira, he says with certainty, voice sharp, thick with entitlement. She turns to run, but he's faster. His hand grabs her wrist and drags her toward the car. She kicks, screams, but no one is around. Until another car roars up behind them. Ethan. He slams the brakes, jumps out, and charges toward them. Let her go, he yells. The man stops, surprised. This is not your concern, boy. He sneers, still gripping her arm. Ethan doesn't hesitate. He punches the man square in the jaw, and Mira breaks free, trembling. Who the hell are you? Ethan growls, chest heaving. The man wipes his mouth, smirking. Her fiancé. I was supposed to be. Before she disgraced 2 royal families. Mira steps back, face pale. He's not just a man, she says. He's a deal they made. To control me. To sell me. And I refused. The man's expression twists. You belong to Zawari, Amira. Ethan looks at her, stunned. Amira. She nods slowly, finally shedding the name that kept her hidden. My name is Amira. Was, the princess of Zawari. But I'd rather be nobody than their puppet. Police sirens grow louder in the distance. The man smirks again. You won't escape this time. Ethan quickly pulls Mira behind him. Get in the car, he says. She hesitates, but obeys. When the officers arrive, the man speaks first. That girl is a fugitive. I have royal orders to return her. Ethan steps forward, calm but blazing. She's my maid. Her name is Mira. And she's been with me every night for months. That man attacked her. The lie is clean, simple, and dangerous. The police hesitate. One officer looks between them. Is this true, miss? Mira nods, eyes unblinking. Yes. I've never seen him before. The officers escort the man away for questioning. As the car drives off, Mira's hands shake. Ethan doesn't say anything. He starts the engine and drives in silence. But when he glances at her, the storm in his eyes is gone. Only fire remains. They found you, he finally says. But I won't let them take you. Mira turns to him, tears falling. Not from fear but from the weight of being chosen, not captured. Ethan. They found her. But he won't let her go. The night train hisses like a wounded beast as it prepares to depart, smoke billowing into the rainy sky. Mira's hood is soaked, her eyes scanning the platform anxiously. Ethan stands beside her, jaw tight, ticket clenched in his fist. "No more lies," he says, his voice cutting through the chill. "If we're doing this running, I need the truth. All of it." Mira nods slowly, heart pounding as she swallows the last of her fear. "His name is Duke Renaud. He wasn't just my fiancé. He was my family's savior. A monster dressed in royalty. He doesn't care about love, only legacy. I was the prize." Ethan's eyes burn. "And now he's after you again because you chose freedom over his name." Mira adds softly, "And because I chose you." The train whistles. They board quickly, huddled in an empty corner of a sleeper car. Mira removes her coat, shaking from cold and truth. Ethan watches her quietly. "You fell for me pretending to be someone else," she says, voice fragile. "But this is the real me now. Not the crown. Not the dress. Just the girl who scrubbed your floors and tried not to fall in love." Ethan walks closer, lifts her chin. "You didn't pretend to feel what I felt. I know that." The space between them disappears. Her lips tremble. His fingers trail her cheek. And then, like lightning finding its path, they kiss fierce, unspoken, real. The sleeper cabin is dim, rain painting the windows. That night, under a stolen blanket and borrowed time, they become something more than fugitives. They become each other's refuge. The world outside can hunt them, but in that moment, only their breath, skin, and the softest whispered "I love yous" exist. Far away, Duke Renaud stares at a digital map in a candlelit chamber, a royal warrant in hand. "She thinks love will protect her," he mutters. "But I never lose what belongs to me." Ethan. They ran from the world. But they can't run from their hearts. The screen flashes with breaking news. Billionaire heir accused of harboring fugitive princess. Paparazzi flood the mansion gates as headlines ripple across the world. In the boardroom turned battlefield, Ethan stands face to face with his father, whose voice cuts like ice. "You brought shame to this family. The company stock is crashing. Royal families are calling. You either hand her over, or you're no longer my son." Ethan's fists curl at his sides, but his voice stays steady. "Then I guess you never knew me." In the courtroom, marble cold and glaring, Mira stands alone at the defense bench. Cameras flash, whispers echo like thunder. Across the aisle, Duke Renaud sits smugly, a symbol of control draped in velvet. The prosecutor paces. "You ran. You lied. You manipulated the son of a billionaire and endangered a diplomatic alliance. Isn't that right, Princess Mira?" Mira doesn't blink. "I ran for my life. And the only thing I manipulated was hope." Gasps. Murmurs. Ethan watches from the gallery, helpless, his hands bound by laws that were never built to protect love. Then the unexpected happens. The door creaks open. All eyes turn. A veiled woman enters, an elder maid from the palace, one who once served Mira since childhood. "I have something to say," she announces. The judge allows it. Her voice trembles but holds truth. She begged for freedom. She cried every night. She was never kidnapped. She escaped abuse with courage they called betrayal. Renaud's jaw tightens. The courtroom shifts. The prosecutor objects, but it's too late. The narrative has changed. Final statement. Mira steps forward. "If loving him is a crime, then I'll take the sentence. But don't ever mistake love for manipulation. I chose him when I had nothing because he saw me, not the crown." The judge hesitates. No verdict is read yet. But outside, protests begin. Some chant her name. Some call her traitor. Inside Ethan's car, the silence between them is deafening. "They watched us fall in love," Mira whispers, tears slipping down her cheek. "Now they're watching us fall apart." Ethan. The world watched them fall in love. Now, they watch them fall apart. Wedding bells chime across the estate, echoing over rows of guests seated in silk and anticipation. White flowers line the aisle, cameras poised, the world watching. But Ethan stands at the altar, alone. His fingers tremble slightly as he looks toward the entrance, hope slowly eroding into dread. A hush falls. Then the wedding planner rushes forward and slips a folded note into his hand, her face pale. He opens it. Mira's handwriting. "To save you, I must let you go. A." Flash to the chaos earlier that morning. Mira at the royal gates, confronting the press, surrendering herself. "I will answer for every secret," she told them. "But he will not pay for my past." Now, hours later, Ethan crumples the note in his fist, breathless with betrayal and heartbreak. His father rises from the front row, ready to declare public victory, when suddenly, the doors open. Gasps erupt. Mira steps in wearing the royal Zawari crown, but around her neck hangs the small, worn maid's necklace Ethan once gave her. She walks alone, unshaken. The crown gleams, but her eyes are locked on him. A hush settles as she reaches the altar. "I had to face them. Clear your name. Expose the truth." A live stream blares across screens worldwide as Mira takes the MIC Duke Renault-bribed officials. Silenced palace staff. Turned the crown into a weapon against me. She produces sealed documents, handed earlier by the palace maid. Mira turns to Ethan. "I thought I had to give you up to protect you. But I was wrong. Because love doesn't hide. It stands in the light." Her voice trembles. "I was never just a maid. I was a runaway princess. But you made me feel like I was more than either." He pulls her close. "You weren't just a maid. You were the queen of my heart before I ever knew your name." The crowd erupts as they kiss, no longer fugitives, no longer torn between worlds. Just two souls, choosing love in front of a world that nearly stole it from them. "Ethan. She came into my house with secrets beneath her humble smile. But it turns out, those secrets were the key to unlocking everything I was missing."